Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Yasmine, and today what I'm going to do is take you through a series of stories. I'm actually going to take you through my life journey, and it's going to touch on diversity, inclusion, exclusion, and innovation. And my goal is that by the end of it, you walk away inspired with an idea or thought that you can apply within your company or your organization. First, I do need a clicker. Up there? Okay, great. Nope. Okay, perfect. All right. So one of my earliest memories is being 8 years old. I am sitting in the floor of a bomb shelter, and the ground is shaking. There are bombs dropping all around us. I'm pressed up against my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters. And the bombs are getting closer and closer. The ground is shaking more and more. And I remember thinking to myself, will I live to see my 9th birthday? And all of a sudden, the bombs subside. I hear the planes flying away. And 2 men burst into the bomb shelter. And they ask for my little brother. And what happened next completely changed my life. And before I share the ending of that story, I want to talk about something that I believe in and that's driven the focus of my life. And that is the concept of the birth lottery. The birth lottery, to me, it's the randomness of our starting point. We don't choose the country in which we're born. We don't choose our parents, our socioeconomic class, our race, our gender. And they all play into the life that we're going to have, the opportunities, the challenges. It's that twist of fate that leads us to where we end up. My birth lottery led me to being born to Palestinian parents who moved to Kuwait after they were married. I was born there along with 4 of my siblings. In the summer of 1990, my parents took a trip to Philadelphia. My mom was pregnant, and she ended up having my little brother there in Philadelphia at Penn Hospital on July of 1990. They come back. 4 weeks later, Saddam Hussein invades the country for its oil. And a few weeks after that, we're sitting in that bomb shelter when those 2 men burst into the shelter, yelling out for my little brother. It turned out they had been deployed by the US Embassy to go and extract all American citizens out of the country for their safety. And because of my brother's birth lottery, because he had just been born in the States, we got to come along. They told us we had 1 hour to pack 2 bags among the 8 of us. And they put us on a plane and brought us to Philadelphia. As you can imagine, life was never the same. If you've ever moved, you know how tough it is to leave your family, your friends, your community. Amplify that by not knowing the language, by not knowing the culture. As I look back now, I realize it was really toughest on my father. He was a renowned mechanical engineer. And as what happens with most white-collar workers, immigrants, he was stripped of that degree. And after 9 months of trying to find a job as a mechanical engineer, he swallowed his pride and ended up buying this 7-Eleven franchise, which became a family business. He really became a shell of himself after that. Fast forward a few more years. I'm now 15 years old. I'm a junior in high school, and I'm applying for college, just like all of my friends. I remember filling out the form and coming across a field asking for my social security number. I didn't know what it was. I went to my parents. They reached out to a lawyer, and a few weeks later, we received some really shocking news. We were considered illegal, undocumented. We did not have the proper paperwork to stay in the country. And moreover, we could be deported at any moment. That was really when I felt. I've always felt like an outsider, but that moment really took it to another level. I remember thinking that feeling like I was on the outside looking in, watching my parents or watching my friends get their driver's permits and then their driver's licenses, their college admissions papers, wondering why I couldn't do the same thing. Why a 9-digit number in a little blue piece of paper could have so much power. After high school, I tried to figure out what to do next. My parents ended up selling the 7-Eleven store. And then one warm summer day in May of 2000, the unthinkable happened. My dad packed 2 bags and boarded a one-way flight to Jordan. And the next day, we actually found out he had taken all the family savings with him, leaving us undocumented and broke. So what do you do when, when you don't have paperwork and you don't have any money? Well, the good news is you only have one option. We all took under-the-table jobs to survive. We cleaned, we worked at a dry cleaner, at a deli, hostess, waitress, whatever we could get. Making minimum wage, below minimum wage. For 7 years, I made $5 an hour, working 3 jobs. And then 9/11 happened. I remember walking into one of my jobs the next day, and the manager turning to me and saying, "Yasmine, you don't know how to fly planes, do you?" And everyone laughing. And then I was fired. I really wanted to go to school. I thought that education was going to be a great equalizer for me. But being undocumented makes it really tough to do so. With the help of my mom, I was able to enroll at Montgomery County Community College, taking 6 credits at a time due to the limitations of my status. And then I found my way at Temple. Working 3 jobs, I put myself through school. And one of my proudest achievements is graduating summa cum laude after 7.5 years. Thank you so much. The happiest day of my life, however, was the day I became a United States citizen. April 19th, 2012, at exactly 10:39 a.m. It is a day that I will never forget. For the first time, I felt like someone who mattered. I felt like someone with a voice, someone with an identity, someone with roots. I had a party to celebrate. I invited everyone that I knew, even strangers on the street. And I remember at one point during the night being struck by the reactions from my friends, that it was my immigrant friends who hugged me really tight and congratulated me. And some of my American friends wanted to know why it was such a big deal, why it mattered so much. And that was when I had this epiphany, that we as human beings don't recognize our privilege until we gain it or until we lose it. And that was the moment I started practicing the concept of the birth lottery and what it means to me. I wholeheartedly believe that some people are just born with more opportunities and some people are born with more misfortune. And that if we really thought about the birth lottery, if we thought about how we don't have any influence on our starting point, that we would see that we don't all start on the same playing field. And for me, when I think about the birth lottery and what it means, I think about if I could design the world, how would I want to design it? And that's why I became a social entrepreneur. Because I wanted to dedicate my life to the underserved and the underprivileged. So some of the things that I've done, I know we don't have a lot of time, 46 seconds, oh my goodness. Girl Develop It, I brought it to Philadelphia. My first company was a software startup. I had no technical experience whatsoever. I had a really tough bout of starting it and then met other women that had challenges getting into coding themselves. So I brought the chapter to Philadelphia. Girl Develop It is really amazing organization. It's in 56 cities around the US, and to date, they've helped almost 100,000 women learn how to code. So it's very different from Girls Who Code because it meets women where they are currently. I sit on the board of a nonprofit called Coded by Kids, Also born out of Philadelphia. This is an incredible organization that provides opportunities to inner city kids born into poverty. 7 out of 10 people who are born poor stay poor. 7 out of 10. And what this organization is looking to do is give these kids confidence, a stable place away from home, and much coveted tech skills to help them get out of that cycle of poverty. And then my latest venture is called Roar for Good. I want to make the world a safer place for everyone. And I want to do so by reinventing self-defense tools with safety wearables and reinvesting the proceeds in empathy education so that the onus is no longer on women to protect themselves, but it's on us as a society. Yes, so we give a portion of proceeds back to nonprofits that teach empathy, healthy relationships, and respect to young children, skills that actually work towards decreasing attacks against women. I'll share one story, one final story, and then I promise I'll get off stage. I know I'm way over. Thanks for your patience. I have been honored to receive a lot of accolades over the last couple of years. Innovator of the Year, BBC 100 named me on a list with Alicia Keys, which I couldn't believe. I tweeted at her. I was like, hey, we should get together. It's been a year and 2 months. I haven't heard back, but maybe. The one that I want to bring up has probably the least audience size, but it's one that's meant a lot to me. Philadelphia Magazine emailed me letting me know that they were going to name me one of their top 20 Philadelphians. When I got this email, I was awestruck. And I remember instantly getting teary-eyed and then being dumbfounded by my reaction. And then it just hit me. What I realized is that my whole journey, my whole life has been transit. I went from being born in a country that rejected me as a citizen because my parents were Palestinian, to becoming a refugee, and then an immigrant, learning I was undocumented, and then becoming a US citizen. And what this helped me realize, it's not being called best, it's the fact they called me a Philadelphian. I finally had a home. Ah, shit. It helped me realize that I was finally home, and that is all I had wanted. Thank you very much.